Alright, yo, what's going on, all my gamers, all my Genshin gamers? So, they never learn, right? And whenever any of these VAs step out of line, I'm gonna make a video out of it because I'm not having it no more, right? Like, I need to go and because they're not on Twitter anymore, but they're very active on BlueSky. That's where they do all this stuff now. Like, every time I go over there, I check and I'm like, oh, there they go again. And it's always like Karina and like Little Karibo for some reason. I don't even know why it's Little Karibo. I've tried to keep him out of it because I respect him because I grew up on Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series, but I'm not having it anymore. Like, he talks about it like he's in Genshin. Brother, bro thinks he's on the team, but whatever. Let's see what this is about.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Today we've got a very interesting update on Paimon VA Karina Boetker. While Karina's activity on social media seems to have been decreasing ever since the whole Jacob Takanashi thing, where a number of English voice actors got exposed for being manipulative, toxic, etc., etc.
Oh yeah.
It seems like instead Karina's been very active over on BlueSky.
And very active. He means that.
Where Karina and other voice actors in that clique seem to be very upset at those who criticize their actions. Of course, I'm talking about actions such as the harassment of Jacob Takanashi, how a number of these sort of voice actors were lying about their strike, and how it turned out to not even be an official strike, and instead what they're now calling a collective work refusal. So yeah, you know, things like that. Stuff that we've been talking about for the last few weeks on and off. Before we go to BlueSky and take a look at some of that recent stuff, let's hop over to Karina's TikTok and check out Karina's last TikTok post. Well, not really the post itself, but the comments on it. We can now see comments such as, please ignore all the positive comments.
I love those, bro. Those are funny. On TikTok, believe it or not, and I'm going to be honest, this is probably very believable. I'm sure this is not going to surprise any of you. When I posted about this incident, and people are somehow still on their side, talking about, oh, they're striking Formosa, blah, blah, blah. Dude, Genshin doesn't even work with Formosa anymore. I don't know why they're still, like, defending these VAs. It's kind of, it's TikTok. It makes sense.
Spoiler alert, there are basically no positive comments anymore anyways. Can't wait for Paimon's VA recast.
Let's go.
Alcoga is better VA than you. Can't wait for the non-problematic VA. Kenichi is better than Paimon, by the way. I hope Paimon has a new VA. I've never hoped that someone would be fired and never hired again so much in my life. Get out. Did you find a new job? So this whole time, there's no strike. The VAs, especially you, have been throwing a fit, bullied someone who's actually doing his job, mind you, needs the money because he has a family. The rest gets cut off here. I don't know. I can't see the rest of it. Continuing a little bit more, though, and yeah, these are all the most liked comments on that TikTok. Can't wait for your replacement. Waiting for your replacement.
Let's go.
How are we more mature than a 35-year-old woman? Don't
I thought she was 40, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
listen to the positive comments. But yeah, I
Don't
can't
listen
even
to
see any
positive comments. Those are
anyways.
funny.
We gotta recast Paimon. No one wants someone who bullies another VA for something they didn't know. Now then, let's sit back and see the comments roll in.
Now I see why she's always on BlueSky, bro. When you go on BlueSky, there's so little amount of people, and it's quite literally just these people sitting by themselves in an echo chamber, that none of these comments are on her BlueSky account. She gets like 500 likes on there, and I think that's about half the people that are actually on BlueSky.
At this point, just pretend nothing happened until the end of the line. You ruined the strike for all your fellow VAs. It goes beyond Kenichi VA now. This is the point of no return anyways. So it's actually pretty hilarious, the stuff that people are coming up with and commenting on there. And that's just a very small sample size. There are literally hundreds of comments just like those. I mean, to be even more specific, there's like 700 plus comments that all seem to be critical. And that's just on Karina's latest video. It seems like that same thing's been happening on a number of videos that Karina has made since the whole Jacob Takanashi thing occurred. Okay, you know what? Here's one more comment I want to show you guys. This is from a different video. So this person says to Karina, "We all love you so much." We all say as our wooden noses grow. I thought that one was pretty clever. But okay,
That's
now we'll hop
funny.
over to BlueSky and take a look at this little rant from Karina. Responding to this person, Crystal, and saying, so you're going to ignore that you said these alt-right anti-union talking points? You can see a deleted post. So presumably Crystal ended up deleting the post or something. We got these screenshots. Let's see what this says. Oh my gosh, that's huge. We can't actually see it. Okay, let me fix that somehow. It says, alt-right nonsense? I'm not the right. I only bought politics since a global game is at stake for being unionized. Presumably they mean I'm not on the right and I've only brought up politics. since a global game is at stake for being unionized, which would make other countries be upset. I seriously can't believe you think that anyone disagreeing is alt-right. Disgusting behavior by you.
Dude, I remember reading this too, because I was like, I don't know if I should make a video on this. I don't know if this is actually worth it. But I'm so glad Hero is, because he compiles everything so much neater than I would have.
And the second screenshot saying,
like, this is so
still
dumb.
shouldn't be union, because being union affects other countries' laws and stuff as well.
It also shouldn't be union, because their union sucks, bro. Why does no one talk about that? They always talk about the union and how things should go union. I think they should... It's gonna sound funny, but this is how I'm gonna say it. They should rework the union at this point, because their union really sucks.
So like I said, Karina and other VAs are upset on their BlueSky accounts with people who are criticizing their union rhetoric. That takes us back to this thread, where we can once again see Karina responding to that, saying, so you're gonna ignore that you said these alt-right anti-union talking points? To which she gets into it with this other guy, Eric. Eric saying, those opinions are not alt-right. You're using a label incorrectly to deflect and discredit a different opinion. Why not ask why they believe what they do? If they are wrong, then provide information, not opinions. And they might change their view. Help us learn and be open to learning from others. But Karina says this. Dane saying that an American union, someone has control over another. Wait, hold on, what?
Denying.
Saying that an American union, someone has control over another country's laws, is in fact an anti-union alt-right talking point.
That's just a fact. Or it's not even that's a fact. That's just a statement. Where did all this... I don't understand. Where did the politics talking point come from? What? I don't understand. What? Bro, she never fails to not make sense.
Opinion, because it is literally not possible. If unions had control over other countries, then fiancé's union for McDonald's Quolls have made every McDonald's worker
what?
In the US make way more money and have health care. Wait, that was such weird phrasing. What the frick? If unions had control over other countries' fiancé's union for McDonald's Quolls have made every... This seems like it could be a copy.
Then other countries than fiancé's union for McDonald's goals, maybe? McDonald's goals have made every McDonald's worker in the U.S. make way more money. What?
Pasta, bro. Like one of those nonsensical copy pastas. I'm gonna try one last time.
Even when I replace the words, I don't understand
over
it.
Other countries than fiancé's union for McDonald's Quolls have made every McDonald's worker in the U.S. make way more money and have health care. Okay. So yeah, then Eric responds and says to Karina, your words, including the screenshot we'll take a look at. Unions, quote unquote, influence each other. If Hoyo signs the SAG contract, SAG could influence unions in other countries. Hoyo could have multiple unions in other countries banging down their door with more contracts. Not all of them will be fair and reasonable. Influence can be harmful. And the screenshot included of Karina saying this just the other day. And SAG doesn't have control over other unions in other countries. Unions influence each other, but it's the same thing like the British Actors Union also influences us. That just happens because actors work together. And then Karina goes off saying, China doesn't have unions. We can't influence anything there. Also, it's as much influence as an influencer telling you to go buy a certain product. They can't bargain on the behalf of workers in another country. Not how that works. Like when the British Union for VAs gets a certain perk, that might influence us American VAs to ask for that same perk. But that's like how the frickin' internet works. That is not SAG going on behalf of the workers, which they can't do in other countries. You think it's bad that workers would fight for better working conditions if they see people in certain countries having better working conditions? Because right now, us in the US, we are actually asking for the same protections our Chinese actors are getting. They influenced us. See how that works? Eric.
But you are getting it. You're getting a contract from China. You would get the same contract that the Chinese are getting. That's how that works. What more do you want?
Rick responds, saying, no, I don't think it's bad to fight for better working conditions. I think your heart is in the right place, but your interactions with people discussing concerns are really making things worse. Karina responds,
definitely.
Saying, again, if people are bringing up alt-right anti-union nonsense, like this person originally brought up, that SAG can control other countries' laws, which they can't, that is not a person that is arguing in good faith. and pointing out that this person did that is how conversations work. Eric says, stop labeling someone else's opinion as alt-right just because you don't agree with it or understand it. I keep trying to extend the courtesy
I'm 100%
to you that you're
certain they don't
refusing
understand
to
it.
give to others. Nobody is bringing your political views into question or dismissing your opinion because they disagree. Karina says, stop trying to label an alt-right talking point as exactly what it is. You're actually not being courteous. Dismissing the truth is actually not courteous at all. I just didn't know like Karina was one of these people who constantly goes off about like, oh, that's alt-right. This is alt-right. Blah.
That actually sounds like something she would do. Like if Corinna was still on Twitter, I could see him doing all this. Like this would probably not fly as hard, which is why they're not on Twitter, because all this stuff would be just getting pointed out and community noted.
Blah, blah, blah,
That would be
blah, blah,
really
blah, blah.
funny.
So I find that interesting. Here's something else interesting. Because we can see Karina also responding to Noah Gibson saying exactly this. Noah Gibson responding to a deleted post, presumably the one that Karina was responding to before and going off on before that other individual, Eric, was trying to defend the person that Karina was going off on, who deleted the post. And Noah Gibson, if you watch my prior segments on the Genshin VA stuff, you might remember this person because they gave us one of the most hilarious quotes
Oh my god.
in the entire Genshin VA situation, which is saying
This
a lot.
is bad. You gotta
So,
do
back
something.
in my video
Say something
titled,
fast.
Genshin VA for Paimon has complete lost it. We had Karina making that excuse.
Bro, BlueSky honestly is the funniest shit ever. I love going on there and just looking at what these people do, because it is so funny.
Of like, oh, it was just AI. That video of me
Noah.
wasn't actually me, right? Like you can see here.
Or not,
Oh, yeah,
no,
Noah
Corinna.
Gibson said, so this is AI and you've never said this? I agree that YouTubers don't know anything though. Linking to that video of Karina's crash out, which Karina said, yes, that is AI.
Should
And
we
yes,
watch the toilet crash out? I haven't watched that one yet. I kind of want to watch
YouTubers
it.
do know it. They just don't care. But then, going back to where we just left off right here, someone responded, Corn specifically.
Look at her beady little eyes. That's what, chat, this is what watches you in the corner. Whenever you're like feeling like some evil presence is watching you from the corner of your room, like your sleep paralysis demon, it's this.
Saying, is this not your TikTok account? And linking to that very crash out video on Karina's TikTok account, to which Noah Gibson then said, at Karina, this is bad. You
Oh,
gotta say something
shit.
fast. You gotta say something fast.
Oh my god,
Karina.
please, Corinna.
This is bad. They have evidence.
Please.
You know, stuff that we're allergic to. Evidence. Oh no.
Oh,
Let me also
shit.
mention this really quick because I forget if I mentioned this before, so I'm just gonna stuff it here to be safe. But yeah, Noah Gibson does claim to also be a voice artist. Is that like a voice actor? I guess.
I guess.
But
Yeah, voice actor.
artist. And so now going back to the current stuff, we've got Noah Gibson, that person, once again.
What's a voice artist? Is that what you draw with your never mind.
And Karina seems to like this person.
I
a lot.
messed it
Let's
up.
see.
Whatever.
Noah Gibson says, you don't have to be alt-right to fall for anti-union propaganda. Unions are net positive things. I'm in a union at my workplace, so I know firsthand how much they can improve your work environment and wage.
Yes, you're absolutely right. In fact, I have the same thing because, you know, I have a job outside of this because but unions are good if they do union stuff. You know who doesn't do union stuff? Pretty much SAG-AFTRA. I don't have to meet a minimum quota to get health insurance and stuff as someone who's in a union. I just have to exist and show up to work most of the time. I think it's, I mean, I show up all the time because, you know, I have nothing else to do, but still.
You are heavily uninformed by whoever keeps feeding you false information. Karina says exactly this. There is literally verifiable evidence of how SAG-AFTRA has hurt its own members in various ways. Something these people seem like they will never admit to. For example, I previously discussed in a different video.
I would be lying if I said I wasn't tempted to go on BlueSky and just type a whole bunch of stuff to these people, but like, I don't know, logging on the BlueSky just sounds like so much, dude. I'd rather just not, because BlueSky kind of sucks.
How
I mean, it's okay. There's no ads, I guess. That's kind of cool.
Changed their own healthcare policies in ways that negatively impacted thousands of their own members, disproportionately also impacting senior members, and these were people who paid into that healthcare plan for decades.
I have to look into more of this too, because I heard there's some more stuff recently developing
that
about
SAG
it.
then threw under the bus, and those seniors even brought forth litigation against the union, to which SAG then desperately settled out of court. But now going back to the start of this conversation, what kicked this all off? Do you remember how Karina was responding to this person, presumably Crystal? I showed these two images that were included, where we can then presume Crystal had also said something in this deleted post here. Well, we have an update on Crystal because it looks like these VAs like Karina and Noah Gibson have apparently bullied this person into submission. We can see right here, Crystal ends up saying this. I messed up. I'm sorry. I didn't fully understand the strike. I wasn't well informed, even with what I learned of the strike. I thought that someone was being a bully by calling someone a scab. Little did I know, it was just a term when someone crossed the picket line.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That is exactly what a scab is. If the union is striking against someone and you cross that picket line, that is a scab. That is not what Jacob Takanashi is, because there is no strike. There has to be a strike first for them to be crossing a picket line. If there's no picket line crossing, they're not a scab. Does that make sense? Crystal? I doubt they would watch this, but still. Like, bro, they're like, I don't know. I hate how they get to people on here on BlueSky, because, I mean, it doesn't matter if they reach people on BlueSky. No one really uses it, but I hate how they could do this because no one else is on BlueSky, so they just get a free pass to just misinform people.
I thought that scab meant a scab on society, so that's why I was saying that the VA was a bully and that I don't support them. If I knew that there were two meanings of scab instead of one, then I wouldn't have viewed it as bullying. When I kept seeing the word scab being used by that VA, I thought they were purposely bullying them.
They are. Yeah, they are. Like, you're right. That's what they're doing. 100%.
I know that my words for saying that VA was a bully may have hurt all VA. I am with all VA because I thought, well, since this person...
I'll call him a bully. Karina, I think you're a bully. I think you're an idiot as well. I think you're fucking stupid, but that's neither here nor there. If you don't want to call him a bully, I'll call him a bully for you. Hey, anyone who went in there and started talking about Jacob Takanashi, talking about he's a scab, you're a bully. And you're dumb. And you've been lying to everybody. That includes you, little Karibo. Don't think you're getting out of it. I've had enough. I'm not letting you slide no more. If I see you in any of these posts, I'm calling you out.
Person said scab, that they mean a scab on society, block. I know that this apology won't be forgiven for who have called a bully, and my misunderstanding of the word scab. I now know the two definitions of them and what they mean. Thank you for reading this if you have come this far. At Karina, I'm sorry. And Karina responds saying, hey, no worries, misunderstandings happen. This is why I wanted to believe you and kept talking to you yesterday. I'm glad that we can come to this understanding now, and you still don't have to like me. I know I am prickly as a person, especially over text, but you're clearly a good person, and you doing this shows how good of a person you are. This is such gaslighting.
King
because
Choku.
The word scab is an insult.
I don't know why Japanese is a different.
It's not just a term for when someone crossed the picket line. They literally, in Union history, this term was literally chosen to be a nasty sounding word. It's intentional. Like, it's not just coincidence.
God, I remember those. I don't even know what to call them. I'm going to call them tweets because Twitter is better. But those tweets that people were saying, these people, scabs used to get beat up. I'm not saying we should bring that back, but blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Yeah? Uh-huh. Yeah, you would. Dude's like 40 something talking about like that. Like, bro, sit down. What is wrong with you?
That scab is like, oh, a scab from like a wound or whatever. And they also use the word scab in this context too regarding this union stuff. No, it's very specific why they picked that word. Back in the 18th and 19th century, the word scab also apparently evolving from the word scoundrel. And so if Karina was honest, in my opinion, what Karina should do here is explain, what scab really means and that it is indeed an insult. But of course, Karina isn't going to mention that, right?
Or tell us about the strike. Tell us how it's an actual strike. Oh, you don't tell us it's an actual strike? Oh, it's not. That's right.
Of course. No, instead, they're happy to try and mislead people into, oh, no, we would never bully anyone. Harass Jacob Takanashi or harass anyone, bully anyone. No, of course not. And so part of the reason I wanted to talk about that was because it was also giving me flashbacks to when Karina was basically bullying this person, this YouTuber, Darkos88, because you probably are familiar with this by now, but quick TLDR, Darkos88, according to my recollection, made a YouTube short that was talking about how Karina was trying to get people on TikTok to email HeroHei demanding that HeroHei sign their agreement, the union agreement, or however they're phrasing it for their strike or whatever they want to call it. And so people in the responses to that YouTube short were saying like, no, don't do this. The agreement's probably bad for X, Y, and Z, you know, going and listing reasons why they disagree with what Karina was demanding. But essentially they were saying like, no, don't listen to Karina, and definitely don't email HoYoverse demanding that they sign this agreement.
Definitely
and so
don't.
Darkos88 then made a follow-up video, saying that he was basically sorry for blindly just going along with whatever Karina had said, and that he should have looked into the situation more, and he sees the critiques that people have towards the union agreement, or once again, however they're phrasing it now.
Mm-hmm.
And this ultimately led to Karina seemingly making that crash out video that's now become like iconic.
Chat, I hope this helps.
And also this whole rant on Twitter that you're only seeing a part of here. But basically being very toxic towards Darkos88 over this, and eventually getting Darkos88 to delete the video and even apologize. And it just reminded me of how she was treating that person over on BlueSky too. And in
I hope
closing,
Darkos comes
this all
out.
circles me back to Jacob
Those
Takanashi
videos too.
and how we saw VAs like Karina attempting to bully Jacob into submission. And in this case, submission probably wasn't just apologizing, but also giving up the role, because they were so upset that he replaced John Patnois, I think the name was, as he hadn't voiced the role for like 6 months, was refusing to work for like 6 months. A part of this.
I still think the funniest thing was John, whatever the hell his last name, he got nominated for an award for voicing Kinich for like a patch. He was like a single patch or two, and it was only like half, like maybe it wasn't even like the main focus. It was in there like maybe 10 minutes. Bro, they should have gave that. They should have nominated Sit Lali's voice actor more. Like, he wasn't there long enough to leave an impression on me as Kinich. Like, it was okay. It was passable, right? But award worthy? I don't know about all that.
Collective work refusal thing. So Jacob Takanashi accepts the role. Very grateful for
Oh yeah,
the
Kaylee Mills is back on Twitter, by the way.
work. Very thankful for the job.
She like
and all these
snuck
other
back
VAs
in.
team up on him and harass him. In this case, trying to get him to submit to their demands, which was probably not simply an apology, but also giving up the role. And as we all
Don't
know,
do
that ended
that.
up backfiring tremendously on these VAs. But we can still see how some of them are on BlueSky. For example, in this video, Karina and Noah, as we went over, are still trying to insult people who dare criticize the union, therefore then labeling them alt-right and trying to get them to apologize, etc., etc. And it's really impressive, actually. It's astonishing how stubborn these VAs are, receiving so much reasonable criticism from people, pointing out issues with how they treat others and issues with their rhetoric. And what do? Oh, they double down. That's what they do. Yeah, this ain't
They haven't stopped, by the way. They're still doing it to this day. They're still over there on BlueSky just talking to each other about this stuff. But since it's BlueSky, no one really knows, and no one ever knows about it, because it's like no one's on BlueSky. Even on BlueSky, they don't get that much traction.
growth. This is like negative character growth from these people. That's where I'll leave this one. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey, thanks, HeroHei. I know there's another one too, and it probably, I don't know if it has to do with Kaylee Mills or something. So I'm gonna watch that one in like a day or two, because you know I usually like letting these videos hit the algorithm for themselves. Then I get in there. But chat, I'm just I need to get on BlueSky and just read all their stuff, especially what Lil Karibo has done. Like, it is nonstop BlueSky-ing. I don't know. I was gonna say tweeting, but it is nonstop what they do over there, and it's really annoying. But you know, at least it's over there where no one really cares, right? I think I've even started to see some people go over to BlueSky just to tell them off, which it would be kind of funny. Probably don't do that. Just leave them over there in their corner of the internet. It's not worth bothering to go and harass them or anything like that. Just leave them alone. Let them fade to obscurity. They don't have the reach that they used to have. Just leave them alone. It's like it's like the kid walking around with his hood up. Just leave him. Like after he messes up in school, he's walking around by himself. That's what Corinne is. Just leave her alone. Gives a fuck, right? Anyways, chat. That's all I wanted to say today. Comment, like, subscribe, become a member, and I will catch you gamers in the next one.